everybody and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be starting reading The Night and the Moth for our August book club. I am a little bit behind. It's middle of September. So I've actually been putting this book off because I have read One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig and it was such a hyped up book and I was not a fan of it. I do plan to reread it at some point potentially, just maybe I wasn't in a good mood, whatever. I want to try it again and I have, I think, the ebook of it, so it's not a big deal to get a copy of it. Yeah, that is why I've been putting this one off, but it has such high reviews. Everybody is so excited about it. It's got the crazy hype, so I'm just really hoping this is a really good book club pick. But this one is like I want to say it's like kind of like a religious adult fantasy where we're following our main character who is a diviner. Obviously there is going to be a romance with a knight, which I think is really fun. Instead of it being like a king or a prince, it's gonna be a knight. Anyway, this is the Lazy Book Club. If you don't know what this is just a really chill book club where we read the book every month and it's kind of just like a chill video. It's just a spoiler filled video and you can either read the book before the video comes out, after the video comes out, a year from now, etc. It is just very calming. If you have time to read the book, great. If you don't, you can read it far in the future if you need to. I said our August pick is The Night and the Moth, and we're gonna get right into this. And if you're here and you have not read the book, this is a spoiler filled review. There is no marker for spoilers because the whole video is spoilers. It's kind of the point. So if you do want to read this, definitely skedaddle now and then come back when you finish the book and we can talk about it. But if you're here for spoilers, you've read the book, you haven't read the book, but you don't care, you just want to continue with knowing what the spoilers are, let's get right into the spoiler filled review. I'm here to bring you the obligatory first update. I clearly have not gotten much sleep. Like, you can literally tell by my face that I've not gotten much sleep, but that's okay. That's okay. I wasn't sure if the pest people were coming today or tomorrow. We have a bit of a, I wouldn't call it an infestation. We had a box of Ridex and apparently those can attract things called drugstore beetles, and we had no idea that they were multiplying in the Ridex box. So we just have a little bit of an area for the pest people to spray. And I couldn't remember if our appointment was this morning or tomorrow morning. So I've been up since this morning because it's 8 a.m. 8 a.m. is when they're supposed to come. So it is 10 o'clock now because I have been reading this morning. But I do plan to like nap later because I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. I didn't go to bed until really late last night, because I was also reading this a little bit last night. I am at page 93, or I'm about 25% in, or on chapter 8 called Gone, and I love it. I love this book so much. Like, it is everything right now. It is my favorite book so far that I've read for the entire year. Like, amazing. It's so good. The writing is amazing. The pacing is so good. The characters are so fun and so unique. It's interesting because there kind of is a large cast of characters already. I love the gargoyles, and I keep reading this thinking, ooh, I can't talk about this, I can't talk about this, but I keep forgetting this is a spoiler vlog. I can talk about everything in this book, which is amazing. So let's talk about what has happened and kind of some of my predictions for the story, because I have a couple. So this is following our main character, Six, whose real name is Sybil, but she's not allowed to tell anybody that. It's kind of a rule of the Abbey and her situation. She is known as a diviner in the kingdom, and I think it's a group of 6. I think she's 6 of the 6. They all are these like foundling girls, which everybody, I'm sure, reading this was suspicious of that, if they really were foundlings, because she can't really remember anything before she was woken up like in the spring by the abbess. So, I mean, I'm feeling like they're getting kidnapped or their parents were selling them or something like that to the Abbey for a lot of money. And they've basically been made or were already showing magical powers. Again, we don't know that yet. And they were basically adopted by this Abbey to become these diviners. And the diviners read signs from these, I think, 6 entities, which I'm finding interesting, the use of the number 6 in multiple different aspects, because 6 is generally known as, like, I feel like the devil's number. So I am curious if that's going to be a situation, because we've already had like a little bit of a flash to seeing the Abbey as this rotten, grotesque thing in one of her visions, which is very interesting. I didn't think about that before. Notice how I'm literally all over the place reading this book. Like, I am all over the place. It opens up with the 6 diviners sitting on the wall, and they watch as the young boy king arrives, and he has come for divining. And so they show the divining, which is crazy. I loved that chapter. It was so cool. It started the book off with a bang. It really captured your attention for what this world is and what they have to do. And I loved and hate at the same time that they literally have to drown to divine. Like, oh my god, the scene where the abbess just literally drowns her and then she falls into like the different layers. Oh my god, her falling through the layers and like seeing the signs and then like whispering out loud like if it's a bad or a good sign. So cool. So the king gets 5 because the sixth one, I think, yeah, that one doesn't have an omen or whatever. They don't know, but she went through all 5 and they were bad omens for every single one. And then at the very end, she says she always ends up running away. So it's possible another one of the like idols or whatever they're called or gods is trying to talk to her, but it seems like an evil entity, so she's running away from it. That's bad. But she meets a knight, and obviously it's called the Knight and the Moth. The knight is definitely going to be the romantic interest in here, Rory, and I love that. I love him so much. Like, he's already this angsty, oh my god, he's just such a fun character. He's such a fun character that immediately, like, you can tell he's kind of into it. He's kind of into her, but he's like, no, he's playing hard to get. She's playing hard to get. I love that she knocks him the hell out during the competition thing. That was so much fun. Because I really thought it was going to be the situation of she's the one who kissed him. But then 4 did that, which I loved. I was like, ooh, a twist. Because I was like, yeah, a kiss is going to knock him off his feet because he'd be surprised. So I'm really glad that she recognized that that's where I feel like everybody thought it was going and switched it up and had 4 do that. And then 6 literally picked him up and threw him to the ground, which was so great. And so we've gotten to know a little bit more of the gargoyles. I love the bat-like gargoyle that calls everybody Bartholomew. It's so cute. I love him. And I have a very deep-seated fear. And I fear greatly that gargoyle is going to be destroyed. I am very afraid of that. So that is one of my predictions, is that gargoyle is going to die for some reason or another. He is very tense. He does not like the abbess. He obviously knows something that's going on. It seems like the gargoyles might have some sort of knowledge of stuff that's happening because he seems very upset about the idea of her leaving, which leads to one of my other predictions. I don't think that they're actually leaving the abbey. So the point is that they're taken in and they have to serve for 10 years and then they are released back into the world, but they aren't paid. They don't have anything, worldly objects to bring with them. They're taught like a trade. So they should be able to go out, get a job, and do that. But I'm thinking there's no way that the Abbey would actually let them go out and just exist as regular humans. We haven't heard any stories of that so far, of there actually being diviners out there. So I'm thinking they're either killed or they're hidden away somewhere in the Abbey to keep divining for the Abbey. Because again, there's no way that they would just release these holy people, like quote unquote holy people, out into the wild with free range access from the public. Like there's no way the Abbey would do that. So I think they reach a certain age and it like maybe their magic diminishes the older they get, and that's when they're kind of killed or sent somewhere in hiding. So I think that's actually what's going to happen, and that's kind of what the gargoyle is hinting at, and that's why he's getting so upset about the idea of them leaving, because he knows they're not actually leaving. But I bet he can't talk about it. Like, I bet part of the magic that fuels however he's alive is keeping him from saying something, maybe. Or he just has a little bit of a scrambled brain and can't really think about it. So I think where we just ended, 4 just disappeared. Woke up, 4's just disappeared. The knight and the king and his men are gone. She had the vision for Rory, and that's when she saw like kind of the weird things. Like she saw the moth and she saw all of the like gods as people instead of statues, and she's not sure what any of that means. So we're at that point, and then like I said, 4 just disappeared. I think that's what's happening. I think 4 reached potentially their 10-year date and has been taken away. I would love it if 4 just like ran away, but I have a very bad feeling that she has died or has been sent away already. So I am curious where this is going to go from here, if we're going to see new diviners being brought in. I just don't know where this is heading, like, at all, because I haven't read the synopsis, so I don't know anything. Everything is a surprise to me. So I am very, very excited about it. So anyway, I'm going to continue reading this. I do plan to try and read most of it today. I don't see myself really wanting to stop reading it because it is so good. I'm really hoping it continues to live up to what this is so far. I think the only thing that could happen that would make me not like it is what kind of happened in One Dark Window. See, it's already better than One Dark Window. I really was not a fan of One Dark Window. I do want to reread it to try it again. But the reason I didn't like One Dark Window was because I really didn't like the main male character. I thought he was a limp noodle of a character, and the insta-love was insane. I actually thought it was like a joke. Like, I thought that that was not actually the romance in the story, and it did turn out to be, which was really disappointing for me. So I'm already, like, significantly happier with this book. So the only thing that could happen that I wouldn't like is if Rory turns out to not be the romance, or it is more of like an insta love, like if anything happens before like the 200 page mark, then I'll be like kind of upset. But we'll see as we move along in the story. We are at the 50% mark, or almost 200 pages. I guess I'm like a little over 50%. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense because the book is 380 something pages and I'm at page 200. I think I'm at 54% is what the Kindle said. So I'm probably not going to finish it this morning, which is unfortunate because it is Wednesday and I really want to post it today. I'm still kind of planning to post it today. It just depends how much I read. This might get posted like tonight or Thursday morning, I guess, is also an option. Because like I said, my head is really hurting and I still have 180 pages, which is a lot to read, especially when you're not feeling very well. But anyway, 200 pages in, let's talk about some things. I think 4 went missing is the last thing that we talked about. First of all, I'm obsessed with this book. I am so obsessed with it. It's doing everything that I want in the romance category. I cannot. There was just a scene, the wax scene, where he finally was like, what'd you do with that Hamlin guy? And she was like, oh, nothing actually happened. And he was like, did it not? Did it not? Like, I'm obviously very happy about the fact that nothing happened. So it's being played so well. I feel like she definitely learned from One Dark Window, even though everybody loved One Dark Window, but it feels like she learned from One Dark Window that the insta love thing does not work. But I am really excited now to try One Dark Window over again to see if maybe it just wasn't my vibe before, but maybe it is now. But the writing is so good. The writing is so good. The characters are so good. The pacing is really good. I am starting to run into a little bit of a problem with the pacing right now. And that's only because it is also, you know, it's following a very similar format to One Dark Window, plot-wise. They're traveling, and it's been forever since I read One Dark Window, but I believe in One Dark Window, they meet her, they have to get her help to deal with a situation, and to deal with that situation, they have to travel from location to location. And that's literally exactly the same thing here, is we have a group of people who are working together to bring down a certain entity situation kind of thing. And they have invited her to join them to help with that. So it's a very, very similar plot line. And I don't really love traveling stories, like where you're traveling from place to place constantly. I like generally a same location situation where I really get to know like a certain place. Like you can go off to one place and then come back, but I generally like being in a single location. And I'm a homebody. Apparently I'm a homebody where I read things too. So in this one, we have obviously left the Abbey, which I'm sad about. I kind of wish they had been in the Abbey for a lot longer. I don't know if that would have worked with the pacing though. I feel like I could see that getting kind of boring, but I was enjoying the Abbey so much. Like I was hoping we would explore the Abbey more, and that's where we were going to, like, for me, I feel like it was obvious that the girls are locked away somewhere in the Abbey and they haven't been sent away. So I was hoping that we would explore the Abbey and there'd be like a mystery situation going on where we'd follow Six trying to look into all these different rooms and learning secrets maybe in the Abbey. That's kind of what I was more hoping for, and not that we are now outside of the Abbey and we are not going back, seemingly, probably till the end of the book or maybe into the next book. That's what I'm struggling with a little bit, is just the different locations. It doesn't give me something to grasp onto in the book, and I am struggling with that. So so basically where we were, all of them have now gone missing. One went missing every single night until she left with, I keep calling him Bartholomew, but he's calling everybody else Bartholomew, the gargoyle, the bat-like gargoyle. She takes him and they go to the local castle to see if Benedict is there, or Benji, I guess is what he prefers to be called. So we go to check if Benji is there. Nobody is there. So on the final night where it seems like she'll be kidnapped, Rory shows up. Very fun. He has some weird artifact, and we soon learn that it is the Artful Brigand's coin, and he helps her escape from the abyss. And it turns out that him and the king and Maud, and I guess some other knights, I don't know if actually no, there's no other knights because they're afraid of that. It turns out they've been tracking the omens down and killing them and taking their artifacts. And I am suspicious of Benji for this because Benji wants the artifacts and to wield them, which is like, okay, greedy king situation. Obviously it's out of fear because his grandfather was killed for the original story. So we find out that the omens are actually originally, potentially, we don't know 100%, were mortals who were gifted powers by this well. And that's probably why they're so easily killed. So they have to challenge them at their thing that they do. And if the knights and the king win, then they're able to take the artifacts, and each artifact has its own power. So far we have the coin and we have the inkwell. We already killed the forester somewhere before the book started, but we don't know where I think it's the chimes. We don't know where the chimes are, so we have to find the chimes. So we've got, so that's 3 down. We have 2 to go that we know about, and then supposedly they think the abyss is the moth or the 6th omen, which I'm not convinced of entirely. And I think that's kind of generally it. I mean, the romance is moving slowly, which I very much prefer. They've had some really, really good moments, like like I said, the wax scene is awesome. And I really do think that's about it. I'm trying to see if we've learned any backstory about anybody, but I think we're good. And the gargoyle is going with them, which I'm really enjoying. I like the gargoyle being a sense of humor in this story. I think it needs it because of how serious the topics are. So I like having a little bit of that humor in there. I am a humor girly. Anyway, I think that's where we're at. We just agreed to go with them full time to go search out the rest of the omens. And yeah, I think that's it. I think we're on our way to the next omen is where we're at. All right, this is the final update until the very end. We are at page 316, I think is where we're at. We're in, what section are we starting? The Cliffs of Belladine. I think we have all of the things other than the loom currently. We just finished doing the chimes. And yeah, I'm still loving it. I'm still loving it. I think I'm having a little bit of a disconnect with the romance, just like a tiny bit, because of like the switch up. I feel like the switch up happened not super organically. It was like 1 second the author decided that she wanted them to be enemies, and then the next second they were like super chill and soft with each other. And when you have an enemies to lovers, I always prefer a moment where there's like an explosive, no, I actually am in love with you kind of moment, where they were like maybe just fighting and she's like, you hate me, you hate blah blah blah, and then there's this moment where he's like, no, I don't. And that's what I kind of wanted. And that's like the biggest thing in here that was missing for me with the romance. I'm so picky when it comes to romances. Just keep that in mind. Especially when it's like a certain trope. So for this, it does feel enemies to lovers-esque. Not true enemies, but like more like I'm annoyed that you exist on the planet. So I just wanted that moment to give like a, like almost like a, I don't know, I just like that. I like that. I feel like it's more of a realization thing. So that wasn't my super big vibe, but I still love the romance. I still love Rory as a character. I'm still loving the story. This is just such a good book. It's so good. It's so good. I'm still right on the cusp of a 5-star with this one. Again, the romance a little bit kind of brought it down just because there wasn't that moment that I really was looking forward to. But otherwise, I'm still really loving this. I also love that her first sex scene was literally just now. I just finished reading it. And it was very well written. Like, it was not cringy at all. I mean, I'm always uncomfortable during sex scenes because they're not my favorite thing to read. However, this was probably the least offensive one I've ever read. Like, it was like very poetic at moments. When he saw her without her shroud for the first time, that was like a really big moment. I love that. I also kind of figured that her eyes were made of stone when she took the shroud off. So that was not like a big surprise, but it was also just a really sad moment the next morning when she finally saw it. But I love that he like just didn't hesitate and was like, no, you're still beautiful. So I loved that. I just love Rory as a character. I love Sybil as a character. I was really convinced that we would find, so they had already killed the woodsman, right? Yeah, they already had killed the woodsman and they were just looking for the chime. I was convinced that they would find one of the diviners in the woods just like living there, because she so they were, obviously there's 6 diviners. She was the one that was left and probably was for the abbess. I don't think the abbess is the 6th. I don't think that's her. So the other 5 were sent to the other 5 omens, but they had already killed one. So unless it was like they killed him right after he killed the diviner, but I was really expecting to get to the woods and us find like one. I thought we would actually find one of the diviners, but we didn't. So I was really surprised about that, and I'm kind of disappointed that that wasn't included in the story. But yeah, other than that, I don't have like a ton to say other than I really don't like Benji. I don't like Benji as a character. I don't know if we're supposed to. I don't know what's going on with that character, because to me, they're setting Benji up as the villain for book 2. That's what I'm getting at. Like, I'm pretty sure Benji's going to end up being the villain at the end of this, going into book 2. He's going to be the power-hungry monarch, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be the villain in the next book. Because, I mean, at every turn, he is thinking about himself. He is thinking about what others can do for him. He is thinking about all the power he's going to get from these omens, things, relics, whatever they're called. When he was having what's-her-face swear fealty to him, it was very, no, you're going to be my diviner. You're going to do things for me. And I was like, he's bad. He's going to be bad. And it's not like a bad. It's like I was treated shit my whole life. My grandfather was killed. My family has been persecuted. The kings mean nothing. And I want to actually mean something to people, instead of being humiliated, because that's what we've been going through, a ritual of humiliation of this king. And there's only so much a person can take. I'm thinking that it's just like circumstances have created a villain. He's not going to be a true villain, but he wants power. He wants power, and people who want power are generally a problem. And even if they have good motivations at first, if you want power that desperately, you do tend to become corrupted. And that's pretty much what I'm feeling is going to happen. I'm also worried that I keep wanting to call him Bartholomew, but the gargoyle's name is not Bartholomew. I have a bad feeling the gargoyle is going to die at the end of this, or potentially Maud. If Maud dies, it'll be the final, like, straw, I feel like, for the king to turn heel, basically, to turn bad. But I do have a bad feeling it'll be the gargoyle, which I'll be very upset about, because I would love for the gargoyle to be in the next book. Those are some of my predictions, because I don't have, like, a ton to talk about. We're about less than 70 pages from the end. Actually, probably exactly 70 pages from the end. I'm tired, but I also just, like, want to finish this book. It's in the middle of the day, but I haven't been sleeping at night. My body's just been waking me up early, which is really annoying. But my eyes are starting to get a little bit of eye strain from, that's probably what also the redness is from. My eyes are starting to get a little bit of eye strain from reading. So I'm probably going to take a little bit of a break and watch a little bit of TV before I finish the book. But I am going to be finishing it today. It is Thursday. This will be going up tomorrow, and I'm just really excited to see what I think about the ending. But that's kind of my predictions. Benji is going to become power hungry monarch who will be the villain in the next book, potentially accidentally kills Maud, or accidentally kills somebody, maybe even accidentally kills Rory. I really hope not. I don't think the abbess is the Moth, the sixth omen. I don't know who would be the sixth omen, but I don't think it's her. I kind of think Sybil is turning into the sixth omen, potentially, because that's how you originally created the omens, was drinking from the water. So, and then what else? What was my other prediction? Potentially the gargoyle dying or being exploded, whatever it is. So those are kind of my 3 that I'm thinking are going to happen. I'm curious how this is going to end and exactly what a next book is going to be, because it doesn't entirely feel like there should be a next book. This feels almost like a standalone. I'm curious what's going to happen at the end to create the foil for the next book. I have officially finished The Night and the Moth. Oh my goodness. Okay, where do I start? Rating. I guess I'll talk about the end of the book. No, do I want to talk about rating? I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place because I was just crying at the end of this book. Rating. I'm giving it a 5-star. This is my favorite book I've read all year. That's amazing. That's amazing. I've been waiting for this book to exist. I've been waiting for that feeling that I got from this book. Like, I needed this book so badly to remind myself what I love about fantasy, and this was it. I feel like I've had such a rough time with fantasy this year. Like, I have found a favorite thriller, I have found a favorite horror, but like, and I have some 5 stars, I just can't like recall them super well. So I feel like that points to me like liking the books a lot, but I don't know if I have any all-time favorites. This is an all-time favorite. I gotta check if it fits on top 10. I feel like top 15 though. Top 15, it probably hits that. I love this in the way that I absolutely love The Crimson Moth. There was just something about this book that reminded me of that book, even though they are absolutely nothing alike. Like, seriously, nothing alike. But for some reason, that is what kept popping in my head when I was thinking about this. Probably because of the moth. That's probably the only reason. But I feel like the main characters were somewhat similar in my mind. And I just love that type of main character. And I loved Sybil so much. Like, I loved her so much. I loved Rory. I love Bartholomew. turned out to actually be Bartholomew, which is crazy. The first, oh my god, when we found out that the gargoyle was Bartholomew, the first foundling child, sobbed like a baby. I was starting to feel like it was going to be a 4 or 4.5, and then that moment hit, and then the rest of the book hit, and I was like, no, this is a 5-star. This is a 5-star. I still had that issue with the romance that I mentioned in the last clip, but other than that, this was so good. The story was so masterfully done. I'm just so impressed with everything about this book. I can't believe I didn't see it that the gargoyles were the special diviners, that she just wanted to collect them, basically. I do kind of like that the abbess actually did turn out to be the moth. Like, it was very obvious, but it was almost like a red herring, not red herring, since it did turn out to actually be her. So I kind of like that they did that. I'm glad that Rory did not die. I was starting to think that Rory was going to be killed and they were going to have to use the spring water to bring him back to life. And I'm like, that's so very Tangled. It's very a bunch of books that I've read and Disney movies. So I didn't want that. So I'm really glad that that did not happen. I am incredibly worried for the gargoyle, or Bartholomew, because his wing is gone and like part of his chest is cracked. Like, how do you fix him? I don't know how you would fix him. So I'm very concerned about the status of Bartholomew, but I 1000% thought he was going to die. So I was really impressed that he did not die. I'm very happy he didn't die. I think the emotional impact of the book would have been better if he had died, but I'm glad he didn't. I'm also glad Maud didn't die. Kind of thought Maud was going to die as well. Benji was pretty obvious that he was going to have a heel turn. I didn't expect the extent of the heel turn. He's just straight up evil. Again, it's victim of circumstances, but he definitely leaned completely into the evil side. Like, he didn't kill everybody. He didn't want to kill them. Like, congrats, you didn't want to kill your friends who've been following you around and doing all this stuff for you, but you still maimed all of them, except for Maud. You didn't maim Maud. Thanks for that. But you maimed Rory, and obviously were incredibly jealous. I also did not see the fact that he would want to marry Sybil. That I was like, oh, Rory doesn't like that. So I'm really curious if in the next book they'll actually get married, or it'll be like a rescue her before the marriage type of thing. I was expecting the heel turn from Benji, but not the extent of the heel turn. That was crazy. Other than that, I really liked how this finished up. The Heartsore Weaver, I really enjoyed that story specifically because it was so different than the other ones and like showed a side of the Omens that I really loved seeing, and like seeing that they may not necessarily have been evil people. They were just, again, circumstances and situations and what the water does to you. It's like a corrupting power. So a lot of this is about corruption and power hungriness and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed reading that aspect of it. So yeah, 5-star, that's kind of all I have to say about it. I would say that I think Sybil's my favorite character. Sybil is my favorite character. I am glad that she was able to learn exactly what happened to the other diviners. I forgot about that. Finding one, I was hoping we'd find one alive. I was hoping we would find one of them alive. But no, she pre-killed them. She pre-killed them and shipped them off. That is messed up. That is messed up. So yeah, that was a really dark aspect of this book because we spent a decent amount of time with the other diviners and felt like they were family. That was really sad. Oh yeah, that was brutal. That was probably the most brutal aspect of this book. So anyway, 5-star, loved it. Let me know what your favorite character is. I think Sybil is probably my favorite character. I really enjoyed Sybil as a character. Maud is a really fun side character. So let me know what your favorite character is, your least favorite character. Obviously, what you rated it, if you enjoyed it. If you did not enjoy it, definitely let me know why you liked it or why you didn't like it. I definitely want to hear all those things. Just because I loved it does not mean everybody else did. Yeah, that is everything I have for today. I am definitely going to be immediately starting our September book, which is The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. I am a little nervous about that one. It is definitely outside my comfort zone. I feel like it's outside of everyone's comfort zone in this book club. It is more on the higher fantasy with like an adventure story. So I have my fingers crossed that I end up really, really liking it. Yeah, I'm going to start that right away. I'm really excited about it, but I'm so glad we have a 5-star. We have a 5-star read. We have a 5-star book for the book club. So I hope everybody else enjoyed it as much as I did. If you made it to the end, definitely leave a moth or a butterfly emoji. I feel like that fits absolutely perfectly. And I will see you guys in the next video.